Hey, Pastor Ray Barnett here with you. Glad that you could be with me here on the Oasis. And as always, I wish you a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this broadcast. Beautiful, beautiful fall day here in upstate New York. I'm down here by the Mohawk River. And I think I'll put it this way. It's unfortunate that some of these trees aren't showing the bright, bright colors that we see all around us. But nevertheless, it's still a good spot, a comfortable spot for me. And I hope it provides a little nice background for you. You know, when contemplating what to share with you today, this thought came to me. And it's two words. I'm laughing because, our president, where was he, at some car factory or something, and started out by saying, I have two words for you today: made in America. Okay. Well, I got two words for you today, and it's not made in America, though I would myself preferably like to see us making more stuff in America. But my words, two words for you today is let go. You see, a lot of our anxieties and depressions, mental health challenges, they come from the fact that we're holding on to things now, in the past, and we're also anticipating the future in a not, positive way. But obviously you can't hold on to something that hasn't occurred yet, so you're holding on to things that transpired in the past and perhaps a long, long time ago. And some of you are holding on to things right now. When you look at what Jesus taught, forgiveness, loving your enemies, and that's not an easy one. Praying for those that persecute you and despitefully use you. Well, that's a tall order. But when you think about it, what is Jesus doing? He's teaching you how to let go. Bitterness, hatred. Obviously, we always talk about fear. I always talk about fear and depression. Letting go of other things, though, too. Envy. Trauma that happened sometime in your past. Hopefully, it's not ongoing now, but in my so-called line of work, I hear a lot of stories, people still being traumatized. But, you got to kind of get the picture. Even when we think of lost opportunities, and I've had plenty. Boy, I tell you, when I look back at my life and I realize how many wrong turns I took, and they weren't like bad, they weren't sinful, just not being able to see then what I can see now, all the wrong turns. And there's nothing I can do about that except to learn from it for the future. So you could include in there, these kind of mistakes that you made. If you only did this and that, and if you don't consciously, and that's the key word here, if you don't consciously let go of these things, they stay with you. They are just suppressed memories. Problem is, they have a way of affecting your life and, in your case, creating symptoms. Now, there's a lot of, again, I always talk brain body, but there's more and more research that's coming out about the tremendous connection between the brain and the body, the mind and the body, the emotions and the body, and this subject that I just mentioned to you, or this fact that I just mentioned to you about suppressed emotions, where they've been there a long, long time. In other words, for an example, this is why you're so sensitive in certain areas, as I'll say we all are. Most of us in this category of anxiety, depression, and mental health issues are very, very sensitive people. And I may add, very intelligent. That's the truth. You look that one up. It's the truth. Very intelligent, but overly sensitive. So you have something that's been with you all your life. For me, I never took disrespect well. And I have to admit that I still don't take it well. I don't fly off the handle, but it bothers me because I'm always respectful to people. I don't handle disrespect too well, but I'm better at it. Anyway, that's one of those sore issues. So I have to think to myself, okay, so what is it that's so troubling? Sometimes, I'm talking about my own testimony, my own case. Something's very trite. It's very, it's no big deal. Why are you getting so excited about it? I'm talking about myself. And then if I think long enough, and with the help of God, I realize that this is going back into my past. Something that happened maybe when I was small, or other periods of my life. And it has so sensitized me to this area or that area, that now when it happens, when it occurs, or when I think about it, it's causing me to have tenseness, anger. It's just, my friends, it's really just time to let go. Here's something that I've mentioned to you on several occasions. You don't beat anxiety by pulling on it. You beat anxiety by letting go. The Chinese handcuff is the illustration I always use. The harder you're pulling, the worse it's getting, tighter it's getting. It's time to let go. Now, I don't mean to suggest becoming passive. I'm a type of person that I like to get along with people. I really actually like people. I truly do. And of course, there's always exceptions, but when you think of what things you are retaining, and you're not now, see, the problem is, or the challenge, I should say, is that you're not conscious of the fact that you're holding on to something that happened 5, 10, 15, 20, 40 years ago, depending on your age, 60 years ago. And it's still, it's part of your personality now. And it's just time to let go. So what I started to say is that I'm not suggesting passivity, because we want to stay on the offense, not only with our symptoms, but with reference to life. As an American, and I assume most of you watching this broadcast are Americans. I know not all of you are, but most. We just can't let our country go to hell in a handbasket. At the same time, again, if you're like me and I read the news, man, am I frustrated. I am so aggravated. And, some of these things that we're reading, more, much too much, is really tragic. And then, it goes on and on. We have to place faith in God. He's truly working out His plan in the earth. If you know anything about the subject of eschatology, it's a study of the end times. That's something that I accent pretty frequently from the pulpit. We're living in the times coming right up to the return of Christ. You have to have faith in Christ and in His Word to understand that, while at the same time we are instructed in the Bible to be at our post, doing our duty. So, for instance, I met a man 2 years ago, after the election, the last presidential election. He's a little frustrated and complaining, conservative guy. And he actually said, he said, I'm going to take my flag down. I said, take your flag down? What are you going to take your flag down for? And he went through this whole harangue of why he was going to take his flag down. I said, I'm taking my flag down. So then he said to me, well, what are you going to do? What am I going to do? I got a pulpit. I'm going to preach the gospel. Well, you don't have a pulpit. Most of you don't. Some of you do. Most of you don't. So what are you going to do? Well, I mean, pray about what things to do. But you know what I'm saying is that I'm not advocating passivity. It's this very difficult balance. I'll give you another example, or give you an example of what I'm talking about, of letting go of things while at the same time staying active. I've told you that my sport growing up as a teenager was boxing. And when you're hitting the heavy bag, it's pretty simple because your opponent, the heavy bag, is not hitting back. So you could look pretty good. Problem is, once you get into the ring, like combat, everything changes. There's surprises, there's so-called lucky punch, there's all kinds of stuff that you got to deal with that you're not necessarily trained or prepared for either one. But in boxing, you're playing offense and defense at the same time. It's a unique sport in that respect. You know, basketball, you either got the ball or you don't. So you're either on offense or defense. Football, baseball. But boxing, you're on both offense and defense at the same time. Well, that's what I'm proposing for you, is that you stay on the offense, but don't overcompensate by holding on to the past, holding on to grudges, holding on to the hatred. And by the way, yesterday I talked to you about don't let anybody control your head, your brain, your thinking. Don't get sucked into what's happening in our society, people trying to control all of us by getting us to hate each other. White against black, black against white, against the Latinos and all this stuff. They're doing this on purpose. I mean, I know there's a lot of prejudice and there's a lot of hatred without anybody's help. But so much of what we see is contrived to get us to control our thinking. And I just refuse to be controlled by anybody except God and myself. So, let me simply say it's just time to let go. You may even have some good goals in your life that you're pursuing, but they're causing you a lot of stress, and therefore the stress tension is producing symptoms. Or you may consider it maybe just time to let go. I know I have a few areas that are not bad, they're good things, but I have to consider for myself how to negotiate around something, and I may have to let a couple of things start to go because it's not good, it's not healthy. You really can't see what I see, but right over here, you may be able to hear it. It's a lock, but we'll call it a dam. In fact, I'm going to try to get you a picture of it if I can. Hold on. You see that over there in the distance? Well, there's several of those up and down the Mohawk River. I don't know how well you can see the water, which is going over the, right there. You can see the water, right? Going over the dam. And it just passes over this side to this side and it just goes on its way. It's time for a lot of you to start letting go. Letting go. Don't fight so hard. Rest. Relax. Let go of the past. Take the forgiveness of God if it's, sin issues that you're dealing with, or memories, grudges, like I said before, all of that stuff. As you let go, you relax. As you relax, the body can function normally without symptoms. You're not tormented. You're not feeling so poorly. Just keep this in mind as I pray for you. All of the instructions in the Bible are given there for a reason, and none of them are there to help God. God doesn't need peace. God doesn't need help. He's not insecure. You need it, not God. Follow the instructions. do what God says to do. And start to let go. Let me pray for you today. Father, I pray for my friends. Help them to let go of whatever it is they need to let go of. The constant emphasis of thinking about their symptoms. They got to let go of that. It could be in the marriage, animosity, family issues, other things, hatred for members of other political parties, and it goes on and on. Teach them, Lord, how to be on offense while playing defense, but letting go of those things that are holding them down and causing them pain. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, let go. Just start to let go. You'll go a long way in helping yourself if you just simply let go. All right, that's all I have for you today. Today is Friday, October, I think it's the 14th. I do plan on being with you tomorrow. Weather should be holding up. It's beautiful weather. And as I always say to you who just happen to be tuning in, if you're tuning in for the first time, you want to be with us, these are lessons that are very short, 15 minutes or so, and it takes a while to really understand what these symptoms are about and how to cure them. But I would encourage you to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, and as always, a thumbs up. As I understand, YouTube metrics keeps us on the radar so people can find us. Oh, and share these videos too. Share them with somebody who you know needs them or you think maybe can benefit by them. All right, so share them. Anyway, God willing, I'll be with you here again tomorrow. And as always, I always remind you, every day I remind you, make sure the peace of Christ rules in your heart. God bless you. See you here again tomorrow on the Oasis.